It's been a long time since I recorded a video, but I'm very excited to share this knowledge because I think it's very important that you understand as a viewer. So just about an hour ago, I went downstairs at the lobby to read a book, and I've realized all these distracting thoughts because I'm so stimulated with um, not social media because I haven't really consumed much of social media. So even though I have Instagram in my phone, I don't really like use it anymore. And for my whole school semester, I just really didn't have any urge or itch to use social media, so that wasn't a problem. Even on YouTube, like I didn't really consume much of YouTube as well, so that was good. But I still have distracting thoughts of just doing easier tasks. I was reading quite a dense book, so I was reading this book, The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. It's quite a dense book. One of his first books is called The Principles. I haven't read that yet, but it's quite a dense book and it requires a lot of attention and focus. And I realized that in this world of stimulation, I'm not talking about those outliers who are quite well off with focusing on tasks and they can even multitask with sheer amount of focus. Props to them, good for them. What I'm talking about is for the average person, and it is quite tough to keep focus. It's quite tough to be in flow. And I realized when I was reading the book, I needed earphones to stimulate my brain with music. I was depending on all these other things to be focused, and I feel like it's a distraction. It makes me worse off because I can't do it with my own vision, with my own ability. So there's this saying which really fascinates me, and it's called, oh, what they say. I'm probably gonna paraphrase it because I'm not gonna like quote it properly. But what they say is, technology is going to get the cheapest in the future. Actually, what is going to be the most expensive currency is going to be your attention span. So we're going to have to battle with our attention span. And with a lot of these tech giants, with a lot of these big companies talking about AI, talking about entertainment, talking about dopamine, it's going to be tough. And the people that excel at what they do are the ones that can maintain their focus. Already on YouTube, a lot of people have already talked about this, but it's really fascinating. And I truly feel that the most expensive currency in the future is going to be our attention span. So, what can you do to lengthen or increase your attention span? No one is perfect. Even I struggle with it a lot. Even though I'm talking about this on video, doesn't mean that I'm a professional at it, doesn't mean I have much credibility, but I do want to share something that really is important to me and I feel that you should know. And so I think some things that I thought of over, and I know that people that are actually good at focusing are mentioning. I was recently reading a book by Jay Shetty called Thinking Like a Monk, and he mentions the monkey mind, which is pretty much what I'm saying is people with the mind that is constantly depending on distraction and is constantly stimulated and cannot focus. So what you can do is obviously meditation. Try to sit in the room alone with your thought. At first, it could probably be quite daunting, but if you can do that, try to do that. If you even can maybe start off with take like miniature steps. If you can start off with maybe a phone with a meditation app, do that, and then slowly and gradually do it without the phone and just focus on your breath. One of the beautiful sayings from that book, Thinking Like a Monk, that I recently heard was the moment you are born, the first thing you ever do is breathe. And the moment you die, the last thing you ever do is your breath. So you breathe when you are born into this earth, and when you're about to die, you breathe till your last breath and you pass away. It's not your relatives, it's not your friends, it's not your boss, it's not your girlfriend, it's not your wife, and it's not even your son or daughter. It's your breath, and that's something that you can control. And if you can really breathe properly, it can change your whole physiology of your body and your being. So that's quite interesting. Andrew Huberman, which I listen to a lot and I admire because he's pretty much the epicenter of sharing science to average consumers. He says you could do this one technique, which is inhale and then inhale a little bit longer and then exhale. And this is really good for stress relief. It's really good for focusing. So these are some sort of breath works that you could sort of look onto, but you can just pretty much on these days, you can just search breath works on YouTube and find some credible sources. I do recommend watching Andrew Huberman's video on breathing. So, and there's also books called like How to Breathe. So yeah, a lot of good resources out there. So that's one thing. Second thing is I do recommend reading a book and try to do it without putting on earphones and listening to music. If you can sort of suffer through it, it is good for you. It is good for maintaining your focus or even increasing your focus. I remember struggling with focus because I knew it was a big problem when I first started reading. So I'm actually a very late reader. I started reading after I graduated high school because I never really thought reading is a thing. Most of my reading in my life was textbooks, and I don't really consider them as reading. But after I graduated from high school and I had to take a gap year, which is very scary because I really wanted to go to college, but I didn't have the grades for it. I didn't have just, I was a loser. But I'm glad I'm in college right now, and I'm soon to graduate, so just got one more year left. Anyways, when I first started reading, I would fall asleep after every 15 minutes. And that's so scary because this is probably very normal for an average person. If you look at data, obviously a lot of people are not reading. But if you can read, that will help you to maintain focus. Don't do it just because you're learning it. Do it because it's important for you to maintain your focus, because in the future, focus is going to be your most valuable asset, I would say. So do that. These are the two things you could do to increase your attention span. And just remember that in the future, we're going to be battling about our attention span. Technology is going to get cheaper and cheaper, but our attention span is going to get more expensive. So, a very important note. And meditate and read is going to be your action step. And take this into your heart, take this into your mind. It is logical, it is common sense, and hopefully this video helped you. If you liked it, please comment down below, share what you learned, or even please suggest me other tools that you would like to share, or resources that you'd like to share, and share it to your friend if you would like to. And I'll see you guys.